You are Locked On Coogs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
But first, today's show is brought to you by our buddies over at Monarch Money. If you ever check your bank account and wonder where did all my money go, okay, that might happen to me every now and then. Anyway, between dining out, online shopping, Mother's Day is coming up, entertainment, it's easy to lose track of all that. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility to take control over your finances. And Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. Track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. Again, teacher, coach, podcaster, all the accounts, one place, one single spot. I love how easy the app is. The interface, the dashboard's all right there. One spot for you. Take control over your finances. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first. Yes, monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first full year. Park Rangers Locked On Coogs here, and things are heating up on the diamond. In baseball, Houston had a must-win weekend, and win they did. I want to come back and touch on this. I was talking about it a little bit last week, but the baseball program kind of had to have 3 wins this weekend. They legitimately needed to have 2 wins this weekend. Houston managed to get the sweep over Utah in baseball. It's funny, Utah talked all that crap about sports. Houston seems to beat them in most things, most everything. Anyway, Houston beats Utah in baseball all 3 games. It looked like on Friday they had blown the first one. Gave up the lead in the 5th and 6th innings. Game's kind of getting away from them a little bit. Energy seemed dead, and then a rain delay pushed the rest of the game from Friday night to Saturday noon. They'd have the Saturday night game and the Sunday noon game. They regrouped and won that. Then they went on to win the next 2. They won the 21 innings between Saturday and Sunday combined 18-7. Right? That's pretty impressive difference between the 2 games, especially when you factor in Sunday felt kind of like a bullpen game for the Houston Cougars. Just a lot of different arms on the mound as they just continue to blow out the Utah Utes on Sunday. Tyler Cox, we should point out, had an 8-hit weekend. Xavier Perez had 6 and a homer. It was the first Big 12 sweep of the season. The 10 runs on Sunday was the most the Coogs have scored in a Big 12 game this season. And Houston's looking to maintain a spot in the Big 12 tournament. Again, out of 14 programs, or 16 schools, but only 14 baseball programs. 12 make the tournament. Houston's looking to stay in there at that 10-11 spot as of things right now. And so that's an important thing to keep an eye on. Had they lost a couple this weekend, they had a real danger of falling out. They end the season with a series at Arizona State and Arizona as their final 2 Big 12 series. Both of those teams are in the top quarter of the standings. That's a pretty daunting finish. So you want to make sure you're securely in there and you can peel a few games out of those series as you get there. Good deal. Again, the Texas A&M Aggies come to the Third Ward on Tuesday. Not a Big 12 game, obviously, but a big test for Houston in a local kind of way. Speaking of big tests, it feels like the other bad ball sport continues to fail those. After losing on Sunday, Houston falls to 4-18 in Big 12 play. They are 8-41 over the last 2 seasons in Big 12 play. That's last place this season, last place presently this season, last place last season. Both of those are bad for the folks keeping score at home. Both of those are bad. And Coach Vessely has, the criticism off the field we can mention briefly, but I do wonder at what point the criticism of the product on the field warrants the, does she keep her job? Do we need to go a different direction in the softball program? I mean, Eddie Nunez has shown up and shown he wants winning programs, and winning is, at the forefront. He wants to bring in dollars, but he understands the idea that winning brings in those dollars. And, everyone loved Coach Hugh on the women's basketball side, but they weren't winning games. He had to go. He's now an assistant at Virginia, and a role that I frankly, side note, think he'll do really well in, and hope for all the best for him. But anyway, Vessely, so she runs a softball program, has come in last in the Big 12, predicted to be last this year, 2 years in a row. Not ideal, not great. Is there a bunch of softball talent in Houston? You betcha. Greater Houston area, East Texas. Oh my goodness. You can throw a stone and hit a softball field with a player on it that can help you out. But Vessely can't seem to put a team together. And we talked a little bit with the folks at Scott Holman last year. I don't want to step on their reporting because they were the ones that kind of came forward first with it. They had some anonymous sources from within the program and locker room about some off the field things, and in the locker room, in the dugout kind of things as well. That ultimately, I think, you could also argue lead toward the we should fire the softball coach kind of things, like being okay with different levels of assault and alleged assaults and those kinds of problems, and over the top alleged hazing incidents, and over the top alleged violent threat incidents, and over the top. I say alleged because this is not my reporting. I'm trying to put things together that, again, the Scott Holman folks do a great job of bringing up all the time. And they've got a lot more insider on it. And we had Sam on, I think it was Sam, back when the first leak happened on that. And the conversation then was, is the off the field issue enough for firing Coach Vessely? And Sam and I were talking, and the Scott Holman folks were talking. I think it might. It's allegations, but the allegations aren't good. And then you factor in the on the field stuff is bad. And it's not that the girls aren't trying hard or playing hard or anything like that. That they can't put it together. And when you have bad locker room and dugout culture, it can make it hard to put things together. Those things tend to go hand in hand. Look at the best program on campus, best program in the Big 12, got the best culture in America. That's the Houston men's basketball program. And I'm not saying it's fair to make everyone put on that pedestal where everyone has to be that, but it's certainly the gold standard. And it's right there in the same campus, same student athletes. And as much fun as it's talk about the ones we know that are coming to campus next year that we did at the top of this episode, it wasn't always that, but it was always a culture, and it was always building to something. And you got to wonder if everyone's doing that on campus. Now, anyway, we got a lot to talk about this week. Again, more transport stuff going in and out. All kinds of things happening in the football offseason. We mentioned bat and ball sports. The baseball programs at A&M Tuesday. I like beating the Aggies. I don't know about you. So we'll talk about things throughout the week as they come up. So hit subscribe. Hit the bell so we're live. That we can be with us every day like the everydayer I know you want to be. Everydayers are the best kind of people. Locked On Coogs, the prime member of the Locked On Podcast Network. That means your team every single day. Go Coogs.